where access is gated or terms change, you may find yourself trapped in the very system you assumed was safe. At that point, the optionality you had before, the ability to hold, deploy, or generate yield from a utility asset, is gone. That doesn't mean utility assets are risk-free. They are not. It means the type of risk they carry is different. Holding a utility asset is a bet on functionality and system relevance. Holding fiat is a bet on policy discipline and long-term stability. One is volatile but independent. The other is stable-looking but conditional. This is why I keep emphasizing that selling is not just an exit, it's a reallocation of risk. You are not escaping risk. You are choosing which risk you prefer. And most people never consciously make that choice. They react emotionally to volatility and assume safety lives on the other side of a sell button. Understanding these scenarios doesn't mean you should never sell anything. It means you should never sell without knowing what you are stepping into. Because in transitional periods, the obvious choice is often the most crowded one. And crowded exits are rarely safe. Let's close this out by grounding everything we've discussed in reality, not ideology and not fear. The reason I say I'm not selling my XRP has nothing to do with believing price only goes up. It has everything to do with understanding what phase of transition we are in and what risks actually matter in that phase. Most people obsess over volatility because it's visible. Very few people think deeply about structural risk because it's quiet. We are not just moving through a market cycle, we are moving through a system upgrade. That distinction changes everything. In a normal speculative cycle, selling into strength and holding fiat makes sense. In a systemic transition, that logic becomes incomplete. The question stops being what price can I sell at, and becomes what system am I exiting into, and how stable will it be when the transition is finished? Utility assets exist because the old system has limits. They are not perfect, they are volatile, they are early, but they are designed to function inside the next architecture, not the last one. That's why their payoff is asymmetric and delayed. If wholesale adoption drives the first wave of repricing and you immediately convert that into fiat, you are betting that fiat will remain the safest endpoint through the retail transition phase. That's a bet, not a certainty, and history does not strongly support it. This doesn't mean hyperinflation is guaranteed. It doesn't mean accounts will be frozen tomorrow. It means those outcomes are plausible enough that they deserve consideration, especially when making irreversible decisions. What most people fail to realize is that once retail systems shift, optionality disappears. You can choose today. You may not be able to choose later. That's why timing matters more than bravery, and why panic selling during volatility often locks people into the very risks they were trying to avoid. Volatility will get worse before it gets better. That's not pessimism, it's realism. Transitions are chaotic. Price will overshoot in both directions. Emotional pressure will increase. Narratives will flip daily. If you don't have a framework, the market will manufacture one for you, and it will not be kind. My framework is simple. I focus on assets that have a role beyond speculation. I accept volatility as the cost of positioning early. And I avoid assuming that fiat is a neutral, risk-free destination simply because it feels familiar. That doesn't mean I never reassess. It doesn't mean I ignore new information. It means I don't confuse price movement with progress or fear with insight. You don't need to agree with this approach, but you do need to be honest with yourself about why you're holding what you're holding. If your plan depends on everything going smoothly, on timelines behaving nicely, and on governments exercising perfect discipline, that plan is fragile. Strong plans survive disorder. As we move forward, the most valuable skill will not be prediction. It will be patience paired with understanding, knowing when to act, when not to act, and when the risk you don't see is larger than the one you do. And with that, I'll leave you with a reminder that always matters. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a licensed financial professional before making any investment decisions.